From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Inside Politics.
And hello, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston, sitting in today for Pat Nolan. So pleased to be here for an important Inside Politics. As we continue our conversations with the men and women who would be our next governor, we are pleased to welcome Knoxville businessman Randy Boyd. Mr. Boyd is a former commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. He is a Republican candidate for governor on the August 2 primary ballot. Thank you for joining us on Inside Politics.
Thank you, Roy. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. All right. I've got a whole list of questions here that Pat left me and a few that I've added in. And so, again, I'm pleased to be here. And we want to begin our interviews with questions that we plan to ask, or Pat plans to ask, all of our candidates. And the first question, it's simple, but it's really important. Why are you running for governor?
Well, fundamentally, my wife and I, Jenny, believe that God's blessed us beyond anything that we ever expected. And so we've dedicated the rest of our lives to giving back. We've been giving back philanthropically through many causes like Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm a big in Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've been a Boy Scout master for 17 years. So we give back a lot personally and financially. But a couple of years ago, I got the chance to work with Governor Haslam and help create the Tennessee Promise. And I learned through that experience that if you really want to make the biggest difference for the most people, public service is the place to do it. Through those 3 years I got to work with Governor Haslam, I also developed 3 projects, goals that I was determined to succeed in, and we just ran out of time. And so I decided the only way that I could make sure that we completed those goals was to run for governor and have us another 8 years to complete them. One was completing the drive to 55, and maybe we can talk about more in detail. Making sure that 55% of our population has something beyond high school. Not everybody needs to go to a 4-year school and get a college degree, but everybody needs a skill beyond high school to get a great job.
Right.
We've got a long ways left to go. I want to complete that mission. As commissioner, we had a goal to be the best place in the Southeast for high quality jobs. When I left, we were number 4. We got some very concrete plans on how to get there, and I want to finish that. And then finally, as I was commissioner, I got to travel all across the state and got to know people in every county, and there's a lot of our counties that are struggling. And we set a goal to have 0 distressed counties. A distressed county is the poorest counties, the bottom 10% of the counties in the entire country in poverty, income, and unemployment. And our goal was to have 0. Right now we have 21. So by the metrics, we want to complete the drive to 55, be number 1 in high quality jobs, and have 0 distressed counties. So make sure that we're all successful together.
This tells me you are a goal-driven person.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the goals for things that we wanted to accomplish before I had the idea of being governor. It just seems like being governor is the best way to make sure we complete the missions we started.
Those are 3 very specific goals, and we will get into detail with them. But what do you think are the 3 most important issues facing Tennesseans in 2018 as we move forward?
Well, I think they do tie into those goals.
Okay.
But you know, for the last 15 months I've been campaigning, and I used to think that wouldn't it be great if you could just have a 90-day campaign and just get this over with quickly. I've needed all 15 months to spend the time to talk to people and learn their dreams and their concerns. I've been to all 95 counties, ran across the state from Bristol to Memphis, 537.3 miles, and as you do, you talk to people, and the big things that I hear time and time again is jobs. Everybody is concerned about not just a job, but a great quality job, a high-paying job. Second, it's about education, making sure our education system works and making sure that we're teaching our kids the right education so they can get those quality jobs. A third thing that always comes up when I'm talking to community leaders is good roads. And depends on the season. The last 3 months, it's all about potholes. So you're hearing about that more and more. And I'll add a fourth thing, and this was something that wasn't on my radar. It wasn't one of my top 3 missions when I started, but it's definitely a top concern now, and that's the opioid crisis. There's not a county that I go to that I don't meet somebody that has lost a loved one, a son, a daughter, a wife, a father, and you hear these stories every day, and it's something that is devastating our state, in particular our rural communities.
They're all very important, what you just brought up. So you're elected governor, what are the steps that you would take, actual steps, to try to help in those areas that you talked about? Not just jobs, we have a very low unemployment rate, but the high-paying jobs, quality jobs, and education. How would you address that? Give me some steps that you would take as governor.
I'm afraid the answer to that question would take our whole show, so I think I'll focus on just one thing.
Okay,
and
that's
then we
fine.
can follow up with other things if you'd like. One of the biggest challenges across our state, and it ties education to jobs, and that's workforce development. When you talk to companies across our state, the thing that they're missing most is skilled workers. company after company can't find the skilled workers they need, and particularly those things we used to teach in what we called vocational schools, which were welding and HVAC and masonry and something called mechatronics, where you learn to operate robots.
Real skilled trades.
Exactly. I've also started a nonprofit called Complete Tennessee that looks at why kids aren't going, when they get the Tennessee Promise, why do they not either go to college, community college or technical school, or why do they drop out? The number one reason is they don't have transportation. If you're low income, or if you're in one of those rural counties like, say, Johnson County, and the closest school is an hour away, it's really hard to get there. So one of the things I want to focus on is making sure that kids, while they're in high school, still have the opportunity to get those technical skills that they need to fill those jobs. So a big plan, this is an action plan on day one, is to put together a program whereby we work with our technical schools, our community colleges, and our businesses to make sure that we're actually teaching the jobs or the skills they need to fill their jobs. And we build satellite campuses on every single high school, so that high schools or kids can actually graduate from high school not just with a high school diploma, but a certificate and a job-ready skill. There's still a lot of kids that are going to go off to a four-year college, and that's great. We do need more biologists and chemists and engineers, but we also need a lot more of these technical skills, and we're going to make sure that we provide every kid the opportunity to be successful.
That will cost some money, no doubt.
Yes.
How do you feel about your ability to negotiate with legislators, I should say?
So one, the funding that we need to fund these schools happen to be already in our budget. We spend about $300 million a year in higher education each year. Very little of it actually goes to technical schools. So one of the things we'll have the discussion is trying to rebalance it. If you look at the drive to 55, our goal of having 55% of our population with something beyond high school by the year 2025, and where we're at today, the 39%, 60% of everything that needs to be taught and needs to be, the jobs that we need to fill are going to come from our technical schools. So as we look at that $300 million budget, we need to make sure we're allocating the money to where the jobs are, and then allocate that to the training that's going to be necessary to fill those jobs. So I think it's a powerful argument. It makes sense, and I think our legislature will buy into it. And many of the legislators I've talked to already totally understand the need, and I think we'll be successful in coming together to support this.
Commissioner Randy Boyd is our guest here on Inside Politics. He is a Republican candidate for governor on the August 2nd primary. We're going to take a brief break and get into more issues with him right after this. Stay with us.